Hello and welcome to Geek Must Have. This is a post bag episode. A couple items came in the post today. I always like to open the Chinese ones first. So I have a Chinese one here. And it says on here it's a gift. Something about a test box. So let's open this up and see what we got. That's all there is there. And there's a 9-volt battery. I know what this is. If I remember correctly, this is an LED tester. You'll be able to test all sorts of LEDs to make certain that they work without me having to hook up my power source all the time to them. There's two little tiny screws there that came with it. Let's take a look at it. It's it is an LED tester. Has a varying range of milliamps, starting from 2 going all the way up to 30. The back is loose on it. That's what the guts look like. And we will hook up the battery and see what we can do with this. Yeah, the battery seemed to be a little bit of a tight fit in here, and it is a powerful cell battery. Extra heavy battery. Doesn't seem to be any heavier than regular batteries. But we'll screw the case on, and let's see what we can get this to do. It's got a button with an LED on it. Not much more instructions than that. So let's grab some LEDs and see what happens. I grabbed a handful of bags of LEDs. I seem to have quite a collection of LEDs. Didn't know I had quite this many, but let's start out with the yellow LED. These are 5mm, and these are a little strange because they have a kind of a square end to them and a little hooky thing on the side. These must have been part of some piece of equipment, but let's plug them in and try this out. Alright. Not certain which way the anode and the cathode is. 30 milliamps worked, and 2 milliamps. Maybe a little tough to see, but fairly bright. Move it all the way up to the 30 milliamp range, and yeah, it's about the same. There's also an ACA and a CAC on here. One with the diodes facing each other and one with the diodes facing outwards. Let's deliberately hook this up the wrong way and see what happens. Well, red light comes on. And did it burn it out? No, it didn't. So, it's a quick way to test the LED. Let's try one of the bright white LEDs. These are from Electronic Gold Mine. Really like those people. And, whoa. Yep, I guess that qualifies as bright. I don't know how bright, but it's fairly large too. It's like a 20 millimeter. It might be a little large. Let's go. It's a 10 millimeter lens. And yes, it is quite bright, and it works there. And it works down here, but a lot less bright. Probably can't see it on the camera, but here it's a lot less bright. So, those are the bright white LEDs. I also got packages of these red LEDs. These are 10 millimeter, 60,000 MCD, and when I tested them, I kept blowing them up. They would glow bright for a second and then kind of fade out. I got a bag of 100 of these a while back, and that's because I discovered after playing with them for a little bit, they're 2.2 volts. So let's see what happens when we plug one of these in to the tester. We'll go for broke 30 milliamps, and it's a nice red subtle glow. So there's obviously some circuitry inside of this that helps regulate the voltage so it doesn't blow everything up. Let's do one more test with the red LEDs. These are another strange set of LEDs. The leads of them are bent at a 90-degree angle, and they're rectangular. So this is the way those look. Oh. Okay. Let's try those out. And as you can see, that one lights too. So that's a real quick way to be able to test to see whether an LED you're about to put into a circuit is going to work right. The ACA and the CAC on the side are for the common cathode and common anode. Those are either the bi or tri-color LEDs, and they usually have 3 or 4 leads on them, and as you can see, this one's got 4 leads on it. And when you plug it in this case it lights up all 3 of them at the same time, and it's tough, very tough to tell on the camera, but I can see all 3, the red, the green, and the blue, all lit up at the same time. It's also for those 4-pin LEDs that are kind of squarish. You can push them into here and test them as well. So it's a fairly nice little unit. Yeah, I'm going to add it to my kit so I have a way of testing LEDs before I stick them into a circuit. Now I'm going to move on to the second item in today's post bag, and you can tell by the little flower that's up here in the corner, this came from Lemore Fried at Adafruit Industries. If you've never seen any of their videos, you should watch them. It's the AdaFruit, that's ADAFRUIT. They have a channel. They manufacture electronics in New York City, lots of them. And Lemore Fried, she has a kind of a pinkish hairdo and a punk ring on her, but she is one of the brightest people I have ever heard speak on webcast. And I don't think they sleep, because they have a webcast almost every single night for an hour long. If you get a chance to watch them, they're really pretty good. And I think I know what's in this box. Let's open it up. Yep. A couple of items and an invoice. I'm going to open the static bag one first. And this is an AdaFruit RGB Matrix hat in RTC. And I am glad this is in. These were back ordered for a while. There's a couple of headers here. There's a header pin. Looks like a power cord, power adapter, yeah, power block. And the board itself, and another signal cable signal cable adapter. So this has got a real-time clock on it. You put a little battery in there and it helps keep track of the time. And once you solder all the pins on the header and the power and everything, you can use this to power an RGB matrix. Now it just so happens I got a couple of matrices, RGB matrices in from another company in China. And this is what they look like. I don't know if these are compatible with the standard that comes on these cards, but one of the reasons for getting this card was to see whether these matrices, these RGB matrices that I got, actually work. And as you can see, the signal cable that's here matches the signal cable from the card that came from Adafruit. We'll, in another video, be soldering this all up and testing it both on this panel, and I have even a larger panel. And this straps onto a Arduino card, I believe. Maybe a Raspberry Pi, I'm not really sure. I'll have to take a look. And with 5 volts in, it powers this board. So I have to make certain that there's plenty of current inside of the 5 volt power supply that's coming out to be able to power the card and all the LEDs on this board. Well, that was one of the items. And the other item is one of these cute items. I really liked these when I saw these being shown on Adafruit. They're push button switches. And you're going, okay, big deal, push button switches. But these are classy ones. These are made entirely out of metal. They have a little, like, almost rollerball feel to them. Take one of these out. And they have a very solid click to them. Leads on them are the standard leads that you can use on a prototyping board. But these are a little different than the standard black plastic push buttons that are out there. Figured I'd add a little class to some of my projects. Got a bunch of these. They will go in one of the stores. And that's it for today's post bag. If you like this post bag, please click on the like. And if you can do a geek a favor, press on the subscribe button. I really appreciate it. You have a good day.